This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced a 150 million naira penalty for any bank implicated in the distribution of mint notes to currency hawkers. This is coming amidst a fear that Nigeria may face another wave of cash scarcity, as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has raised concerns over the rising volume of cash outside the formal banking system. Joining us on the conversation this morning is Oluwasomi Akosile, a research and strategy analyst. Mr. Akosile, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
To start with, I would like us to speak on the issue of the volume of cash that is in circulation. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria's data says that as of October this year, 94.3% of the 4.55 trillion naira in circulation was held outside of the banks. I wonder if you can speak to us regarding what a situation like this means, one, for the banking sector, and two, for Nigeria's economy in terms of the inflation.
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me. So, really, you're right. It was in astronomical rise with total currency in circulation has risen. Alluding to what you said, as of October, right, 4.5 trillion. At the beginning of the year, we just had a little within the 4 trillion naira mark, and if you look at how almost 95% of that currently outside the banking system, and a number of factors could be alluded to as the cause for this, right? If you dial back to late 2022, early 2023, at former CBN regime, trying to redesign that didn't work out, and saw that cash crunch, and anyone would allude to the fact that there has been that sort of I don't want to use the word fear, but I guess that really around people just wanting to speak to holding more cash than so that they would always have to meet their needs. Well, maybe some sort of trust deficits within the banking system that was fostered by that. I'm sure you recall what we went through having to buy cash, at astronomical prices. Yeah. If you also look at, other factors really around low financial inclusion rate, where we were still, according to a FINA report, we're still within maybe roughly above 60%, and looking at other African countries, we're way behind, especially considering that we still call ourselves giants of Africa, and not until devaluation were around the largest economy in Africa, within the first and second year. So also we've seen a number of conditional cash transfers really around fiscal authorities printing, or printing money out, just trying to get use that means to get out of right from the recession in 2020, and even looking at what has happened with cost of living crisis over the last 1 year, owing to the reforms that have taken place here. So a number of these conditional transfers, most of them would happen with cash and all of that, and also there's also the factor of the infrastructure deficit with respect to electronic banking and all of that. And just this year alone, you would recall that a number of banks have had to strengthen their moving this their banking softwares, right, and seeing downtime with respect to people not being able. That's even within those who are familiar with the electronic banking means. Yeah.
Right.
So a number of years. So obviously we can't count a number of banks that have had serious downtime. Some even up to a week, 2 weeks. So all of those issues would definitely fuel people having to odd cash. Yeah, and just being on the safe side. I mean, one of the major reasons for holding cash definitely transactional mostly. Yeah, so I mean, you would even me myself here. I've resorted to having to anytime I go to the ATM, I always want to have enough cash that I would have wanted to have like a year or 2 years ago, owing to a number of these factors, right? And
so,
obviously,
Mr. Akosile, my apologies for interrupting you. Now, with what you have enumerated in terms of your practice with cash, is something that a number of Nigerians have, instigated over time. But I wonder if you can speak to the effect of this on the inflation figures that we have been seeing.
Yeah, obviously, it definitely has an effect. Yeah. And especially at the time where the CBN is being aggressive with its hawkish policy rendition. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing about 75 basis points increase over this year alone. Yeah, and the effect on inflationary pressures has been somewhat muted. Yes, fine. One would argue on one hand the fact that inflationary pressures are more on the supply, but also on the demand pool end, which CBN tries to curtail. Yeah, the effect of monetary policy tightening would be said to be ineffective, owing to the fact that so when people keep cash and hold cash at home and policy tightening of the CBN is really to pop up liquidity in the system, that would only get to the banks, mopping up liquidity from the banks through OMO and T-bills, bills and all of that. Yeah, so for people who keep cash, that effect will not get to them. I mean, for example, if I have a million naira at home now, no matter how much the CBN tries to mop up liquidity in the banking system, I still have my cash with me, right? And I can always decide to do whatever it is I want to do. So the easy access, or the more people have as much cash with them, the marginal propensity to consume would be heightened. Unlike when if we were to operate more with electronic banking, and if it's a situation where that's the wide reach for every one of us. That propensity to consume would not be as high as having enough cash.
Right.
Where you can easily spend and buy and fuel demand full inflation. So the dynamics of a number of people having to it still boils down to a number of factors, right? The electronic banking infrastructure and probably just deficits within the banking system and the low financial inclusion rate. So the effect of monetary policy on inflation is a bit would be regarded as ineffective, especially considering how the cash management has been within the economy.
All right. Well, Mr. Akosile, thank you very much for speaking with us. Oluwasomi Akosile is an economist and a research and strategy analyst, joining us to speak on the Central Bank of Nigeria's announcement of a 150 million naira penalty for any bank implicated in the distribution of mint notes to currency hawkers. You're still on to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. The conversations continue in just a moment. Do stay with us.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.